I like bringing up film and music when we talk about cricket. Or one of the things with film is कि आपने एक script लिखी है और लोग acting कर रहे हैं, and that is probably the two most important components. वही components अभी Hollywood में strike भी कर रहे हैं. But there's that the obviously the DP, the kind of everything that's happening in the frames, the lighting and the blocking and the the camera movements, etc., etc. And then there's like the costumes, the attention to detail. There is the sound, not just the score, but also sound effects. All of those things combined, and there's it's not just one person, right? And then this in this moment as well, like obviously Wasim Akram is the headline act, and but it's a team game and all of those things. But at the same time, in the commentary box is Richie Benaud, the greatest, I think, commentator. And obviously, he has a very different style because it is a very different era. Article commentary, just get different expectations then. But जो सबसे बेहतरीन चीज बहनों की मुझे हमेशा लगती थी कि he was like कि देखे जो अपना टीवी पे देख रहा है उसे नजर आ रहा है क्या हो रहा है, उसे सुनाई दे रहा है क्या हो रहा है, तो अगर मैं वही डिस्क्राइब करने लगा वो तो फिर मेरा फायदा क्या है, राइट? सो लाइक आई हैव टू ऐड समथिंग टू दिस, एंड बोथ दीज डिलीवरीज Richie Benaud is just on fire. So like I was like any अभी कल वही मैं जो I was watching some highlights and Ravi Shastri was on, and as soon as like the bold hota goes bolder, and like I knew that was Ravi Shastri. I didn't even know he was on that. Yeah, and I get that. I'm into that. But
Yeah.
Beno watches that delivery and he goes,
what a great delivery. Left arm round the wicket. Alan Lamb has been cleaned up.
Pause.
Perhaps so too England.
How do you react to something so crazy with this much matlab therao and discipline? And like even in the phrasing of the sentence, he doesn't tell you that it's bold until like halfway through it. And then immediately he's able to contextualize it. It's just brilliant. Or him and Tony Cozier again, just maybe I'm nostalgic or but for me, just all these commentators are fantastic. And Tony Cozier, and this is why another argument into why it doesn't really matter if he plays on or not, because this is the commentary. And it reminds us कि हम लोग अभी जब नासिर से बहुत poorly recorded interview किया था पिछले episode में, thank you to Rizwana who transcribed it, he pointed out he felt bad for that Kohli wicket. He responded to what Ganguly had said, which made it difficult for somebody cutting the highlights. Ganguly on the commentary had said, how important will that be? He gets out and Nasir replies, not that important, right? And he's like, that makes it very difficult. And I realize that now, because it's hard to find the full two deliveries where you truly understand the genius of what Benaud says. Because अब आपको सिर्फ highlight पे वो wicket पे cut हुआ होता है, and you don't get the full thing. The full thing is that as Lewis is walking in, Tony Cozier says,
a lot of all-rounders towards the end of their order. Lewis, Reeve, Pringle, De Freitas.
Subtract Lewis from that list. Wasim Akram is on a hat-trick.
Like, man.
Absolute genius. Like like the best things about those the Benaud intervention, especially, Tony Cozier is a perfect straight guy, right? He's setting it up. He's setting up the conversation, and Benaud's coming in with his like expertise and all. So it sits, like you said, it sits beautifully on its own as just a highlight, but it's also amazingly perfect as part of the narrative of their conversation that they're having, throughout that moment. Magar Benaud ki jo pehli ball pe hai na, that the way he says it, left arm round, Anil Lamb's been cleaned up, perhaps so too England. So he's not like, it's not like he's adding a huge amount of insight, right? He's contextualizing amazingly. He's doing it in such a way that maine bol diya authoritatively. But I've just realized, because you've read it out, the commentary, he's actually giving you the insight. He's telling you that left arm round is an unusual angle at that stage in cricket's development for anyone to be facing. Wasim Akram is the most brilliant exponent of this unusual strategy in cricket. And look what he's done. Like, so he's already putting that, the technical side of it into context. Left arm, that's all he needs to say. Left arm round, and everyone knows that yaar, ye isne bahut ek special cheez kari hai. And then to add the lyrical flourish, like, and perhaps so to England, that is just like, it's Australian as well. Like maybe a little bit of glee. England have been cleaned up, maybe. Although I know Benaud wasn't that kind of guy, but it's a little bit of glee. And then the addition to Tony Cozier for, subtract Lewis from that list, it's just like inch perfect. Here are all the all-rounders. England have a long batting lineup, but subtract this guy from that list, and unsaid is subtract England's chances from winning this game. Now, basically, because Wasim Akram is on fire. I know Wasim Akram, I have seen his development, and he's not going to let you win this game. And then like Benaud knows, of course, कि Mushtaq bhi hai, Aqib bhi hai, wo log bhi wicket lenge. Aqib will pull off, well, before this, but Aqib has already pulled off one of his greatest catches ever. Abhi Neil Fairbrother out over to another great catch, like Ijaz Ahmed and Ramiz Raja somehow managing to not destroy each other's faces in a collision, running back to take this catch, and Ijaz takes it. और फिर Ramiz is immediately admonishing him कि अरे यार तुम क्या कर रहे थे, मैंने कॉल करी थी, और Ijaz said I know some Punjabi, I'm sure they must have had some exchange. Then Salim Malik pulling off that throw from the boundary to direct hit, no, not direct hit, but to run out De Freitas or Pringle, one of them. But all of this Benaud knows that, but यहाँ पे in dono ballon mein, he's already realized, I think, the significance of this moment. Him and Tony Cozier both, they've realized it, and they're like, okay, now we are in the final stages of this game, the death throes of this game. It is over.
Yeah.
We have to highlight this. And so the way they do it, it's, we've talked about the Amir spell and said how everybody brought their A game, including Rambo, for the cross seam ball, right? The commentary. This was, I think, broadcasting and commentary at absolute peak. Like the union between what was happening and what was being told to us was absolutely like 100%. You cannot better this. Benaud talking over this and Wasim doing what he is doing. That's genius meets genius. Game recognizing game or whatever. It's absolutely like inch perfect.